Okay, I think I'm ready to start. Hey guys, it's me. It's Shannon. It's Shapeless Needles, vegan podcast, not about being vegan, where we do all sorts of fun stuff, where we knit, we read, we game, we talk about knitting, we talk about gaming, we talk about reading. We do just crazy stuff. We hang out with the bunnies. And yeah, so pull up a chair, grab a prayak, and let's get smoking. No, no, let's not get smoking. That was not the right way to say that. Let's just go. Let's go. Okay, so disclaimer. I'm going to film a disclaimer and we're going to tack it in on the front at some point, but I just haven't had the time to do it. 6 bunnies behind me, 3 of which are geriatric. Directly behind me, you'll see Nano in the tube cleaning herself. Harvey's in the litter box eating hay, and Orwell is behind Nano. I think he's cleaning himself too. Harvey has head tilt. He's totally fine. He just does things a little differently than other bunnies. Harvey and his brother Orwell are also almost blind, so, you know, just prepare yourself. And then on the other side, we have Lebo right here, kind of maxing and relaxing. His mom, Harriet, is upstairs from him, off camera and sleeping. And then below is One Ear, also off camera. I think that is a theme for today, is called Bunnies Are Off Camera. So, disclaimer, bunnies, they're fine. 2 cats, one of which can be an asshole. The other one is a lap cat. But it's 82 degrees today, and they're both upstairs in the windows. No one is down here, which is a little unusual, but listen, it's the first day we've had weather like this. I'm going to make this a pretty quick podcast because I just want to go out, hang out, do some stuff. You know, first day of good weather. Let's do this because, you know, it was snowing. I just want universe. It was snowing on Monday. Snowing. I was at work. I went upstairs to refill my coffee, and it literally looked like the Arctic tundra outside. And I'm not kidding. It's stuck. It was not a joke. So it was below freezing on Monday. It is now 82 degrees Saturday. So my lip itches. Okay, so Steve is outside working on the garden beds, and I have a window well. Like, I think you can kind of see the light coming in from it. There's a little window that I can open. It is open, so you may hear the great outdoors. And, you know, that just makes it for a funner podcast. So funner, more fun of a podcast. Grammar. I need to get on it. Okay, so let's, you know, you see what I'm holding. What's going on here today? Let's get that up in the camera. We have Founders Breakfast Stout. Oh, you guys, I just want to put this out there. It's a really good thing I have an eye appointment. I have contacts in. I can't read this label. My eyes are going to hell. Okay, so, oh, guess what? I can read it with contacts and glasses. That's awesome. It is breakfast stout, double chocolate, coffee, oatmeal, stout. And I don't think it's only 8.3%. It's not crazy. So it's the coffee lover's consummate beer, brewed with an abundance of flaked oats, bitter and imported chocolates, and 2 types of coffee. This stout has an intense, fresh roasted Java nose, topped with a frothy, cinnamon-colored head that goes forever. I think it's time to test this out. I don't know. I think that was a lot of words, and I don't know. That's a lot to live up to, right? Okay, I'm going to say it is a cinnamon-colored head. I agree with that. I wouldn't say the froth is going on forever. I wouldn't say that. I think that was a little bit of hyperbole. How was your week? Or 2 weeks? It's been 2 weeks. How you doing? Yeah, me too. So here we go. Cheers. Okay. So, you guys, I finished something. I did. Let's see if I can do this without hitting the mic. Now, here's the deal. This is the Nightshade shawl. What is going on? By Lisa Mutch. And this was for the April shawl along or knit along that we did in the vegan knitters and crocheters group on Ravelry. So this was the April knit along. I blocked it, but I have not, and I wove in the ends, but I haven't trimmed off the ends. I don't know about you guys, but I like to weave in my ends and kind of leave the tail, then block it and then trim them, because sometimes I'm burping. When I stretch it to block it, the little ends will pop out, and I find I like it better to cut the tails after I block it. I just haven't done that. So let me start at the beginning here. You guys, I love this pattern. So it is a 3-color shawl. And whoop, there we go. Okay, so you cast on right here. So it's a little tab cast on. And then it's just a lot of short row shaping, and then you go into lace work. And by the time you're like, wow, I just finished 150-gram ball, you start the second color. And it's the second verse is same as the first. So it's the same patterning, just on repeat in longer rows. And the same thing for the third color, which for me was black, right? Oh, now I will have Steve lay this out flat. Well, I'll lay it out flat and I'll take a picture and I'll have Steve put a photo up so you can kind of see it a little bit better. I absolutely love it, you guys. I love it for so many reasons. And so I shouldn't have put it back on because I have to show you something. In true Sheepless Needles form, I took what should have been a very easy project and overcomplicated it. So here's the deal. I cast this on. We had a cast on party on a Sunday. It would have been done the following, as in 7.5 days later, basically the following Monday. I was on the couch and I was on, okay, I don't know if this is going to make sense. There's three rate. Okay, there are 3, I cannot talk. I need more beer. Lace repeats, right? For each color. So I was right here, right? I'm right towards the end. In fact, I think there were only 5 passes left and before bind off. And I was running low on the black yarn and I got really worried. I was like, well, I know I have another thing of this. And you know, here's the deal. When I switched to the third color, when I switched over to the black, I thought, oh wow, this is a little bit, it feels different than the other 2 colors, the Wallaby and the linen, the Wallaby being the middle color and then linen being this kind of light starting color, right? Sorry, pointing in the wrong place right here. It felt a little different. And I thought, okay, maybe they really over process yarn when they're using black dye. I don't know anything about dyeing yarn, guys. So this was my assumption, and my lazy butt was just knitting. And I thought, I remembered when I was podcasting last and talking to you guys about it, I was like, well, I used, and I'll just repeat this, it was Cotlin by Knit Picks, and this first section with the linen literally is 150-gram ball, and there's a little bit left over. And then this is Wallaby, and it literally, and I weighed it out and put it on my project so you can take a look at it, was 1.5 50-gram ball, 50 grams, which would be 75 grams for those people who need to add. Okay, so I had guessed, because I don't think I had started the black when I was podcasting last. I was like, well, it's going to probably take 2. And so as I'm sitting on the couch on that, like basically last repeat, I was like, I didn't start a second ball of yarn. That's really weird. And so I just had a really sick feeling in my stomach. I was like, let me grab the ball bands. I grabbed the ball band. Now, how is it that I put together my project bag in the middle of March and set it to the side? I had been in it. I had looked at it. I had filmed it. How the hell did I use comfy fingering weight 100% acrylic? How did I do that? And how did I get through all of it before I realized it? And I took one look at that ball band and I called my sister and I said, I can't. She's like, Shannon, no one's going to notice. It looks fine. It looks really soft. I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, I'm going to sleep on it. I don't know. I may rip it out. She's like, why? No one's going to know. Because I was like, because I don't have enough yarn. And I can't, you know, take fingering weight in the middle of lace work and switch it over to DK and act like it's going to look good, right? So I, unlike what I did with the cardigan that shall not be named, I slept on it. I put it to the side. I wasn't even angry, really. I was more like, I can't believe I'm this stupid. Like, how did I not know? It was crazy. So I went to bed that night dreaming of yarn, as you do. And I realized, I was like, oh shit. I really am going to have to rip that out because it's friggin' acrylic. It's not linen and cotton. It doesn't even launder the same. It doesn't behave the same. And it's not going to hold the weight of the shawl the same that a DK will. Meaning that if I choose to wear this upside down, the weight of the rest of the shawl on the fingering weight is going to pull, and I'm not going to say rip out stitches because I'm not that crazy, but it's going to stretch to the point where it's not going to be the visual that I want. Not to mention the difference of feel between that acrylic and this, night and day. So when I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh, okay, I'm ripping it out. And so what I did on my lunch is I just sat down and I actually filmed part of it, and maybe I'll have Steve put something up for it. So it's a little bit, you know, of therapy watching a project be ripped. And it was fine. I had no problems ripping it out. I had no problems picking up the stitches. And I just went back to it, I think the next day. And then I finished it up maybe Thursday of that week. So really this shawl would have been a 7-day project. And I am not a fast knitter, guys. So if you are someone who maybe knits for an hour or two a day, or maybe only 5 hours a week, whatever your schedule is, this shawl is a great project. One, you can memorize the pattern. You don't need to look at it. Once you understand it, you're good to go. And I mean, again, James Spader and I hung out and we just knit together and we finished it up. The funnier part of this was when I got to the cast off edge, I can't believe this. I got within 5 inches of the end and I ran out of yarn. I'd used 100 grams of the Cotlin. So I just went ahead and grabbed that fingering weight comfy, held it double, and finished the cast off. So if you're going to knit this, you will need a little bit more than 100 grams or use extraordinarily short tails. I don't know even if I had shortened my tails on this when I had like added the second ball. I don't know that I still would have had enough. So if you're going to knit it, just get 150 grams for the third color, whatever you choose. I highly recommend it. I absolutely love this thing. I love it. I love it because it is kind of that linen and cotton where it's not like a shiny, like trying to be she or fancy type of shawl, you can literally throw this on with what I'm doing, t-shirt and jeans, and call it a friggin' day. Or you can put this on top of a really cute tank dress, any type of dress, really. I don't know why I called out tank dresses, but I was just thinking about them because I'm cleaning out my closet. This is going to look shitty because I'm not in a mirror, so ignore the styling. But I absolutely 180 gazillion percent beers up recommend this pattern to anybody. And guys, I think it's free because I think it was her 200th pattern. Get it and do it. You won't regret it. And like Mother's Day is coming up. If you need a quick knit for your mom, there you go. Hey, listen, if you don't celebrate Mother's Day and you want to celebrate yourself, 7-day knit, you get on it. You celebrate yourself. I'm just saying, sometimes relationships with moms ain't so great. So, and I'm with you all. So that is Shannon overcomplicating what would have been a 7-day knit, making it a 14-day knit, using the wrong yarn, finding her error, and instead of flipping out, called her sister calmed her down, she slept on it, she frogged it, she came back to it, and she finished it, and now she's wearing it. Third person, you better look out. You know it's hot and on when that happens. So anyway, I'm very happy with it. So I finished that, and then I've been working on 2 other projects, one of which is a surprise I'm not going to show you. It's not done yet, but let's just say I've got 6 more repeats and a cuff, and then you'll see it. So I'm thinking next week will be a very spooky, or not next week, I'm on crack. Next podcast, guys, 2 weeks from now, it'll be very spooky. And I even told you, it's going to be Christmas in July. Okay, so it's not, but it's going to be Halloween in May. It'll be May. It'll be May. Halloween in May. Wear your finest. Okay, so the other thing I've been working on as I slam my friggin' beer down is my soft tee by Petra Breakstone. I haven't made a ton of progress, but I have done the split for, holy crap, for the yarn just went flying. Freedom. Okay, so I have made the split for the front. So I'm working on the front right now. And a couple notes here. There you go. There's the front. Do you notice how effing large this is? What in the heck? So here's the deal. This is a kit. I didn't pick this yarn. I mean, like, this is the kit for the tee. And I will measure it when I'm done, but I'm just going to say this. I don't think the pattern is off at all. I think this is knitter's problem, right? But I had to do, I think she was like, yeah, you do 14, it's like 14 repeats and you should be at 12.5 inches. I think I wasn't even at 12.5 inches until like 17 repeats. And then she even says, if you want it to be longer, you know, you're going to need to get additional yarn, which is fine. I think I have a okay length, but once I split for the sleeves, I'm using I think it's a 32-inch cord. So once I split for the sleeves and I'm not working in the round anymore, this thing looks gargantuous. Like, that is huge. That is the top port. It's huge. So it's just friggin' huge. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm a little freaked out. I do like oversized things when it looks intentionally oversized. I don't like oversized things when it looks like you don't know what you're doing. Which, let's face it, I don't know what I'm doing. The majority of my life, haven't known what I'm doing. So anyway, I really still like it. I like the pattern. If you choose to knit this, man, watch your row gauge. And I'm going to say you might consider sizing down, but doing a lot more repeats, because this is the friggin' medium, you guys. And I'm just saying, it's looking like a 2XL. Now, maybe, and my understanding is linen does not does not shrink widthwise, right? It shrinks lengthwise. So I don't know about all that. I will report back. I don't know that I'll have that done by the next, I could potentially have that done by the next podcast, but I'm not making any promises. I also am altering the pattern where I'm not going to do sleeves, and I'm certainly not putting sleeves on something that big. That's going to look redunculous. So I'm just going to make it like it'll be a good segue into what we're about ready to start talking about. However, it will be like an 80s kind of maybe off the shoulder, oversized chicha that I'll wear with a tank top. Because that's just where I'm at with that. And that's great. I mean, I think it also would look really cute. Same way with this over like a tank dress or something. So yeah, 80s. Let's talk about the 80s. 1980s to be specific. Do you remember them? Were you alive during the 1980s? Were you born in the 1980s? Were you born after the 80s? Let me know how old you are in the comments if you feel comfortable doing that. I will tell you, I was born in the early 70s. So the 80s were they were my time. You know what I'm saying? That's where I figured out who I was. That's where I found out what I liked. All of that good stuff. What do I remember about the 80s? Well, I guess it depends what part of the 80s we're talking about. But for me, I automatically think of Molly Ringwald, Erasure, Depeche Mode. Oh, lots of Depeche Mode, you guys. Lots of Depeche Mode. Early 80s Def Leppard, Motley Crue. I was a metalhead. I still am a metalhead. I don't know why I put that in past tense. Boone's Farm, Mad Dog 2020. Look out. Bartles and James. Come on. I remember riding my bike to my friend Anna's house, and we would hang out and listen to Billy Idol on a huge boombox in the park. And there were these guys who would buy us Bartles and James, so we would get drunk at the park. And I'm glad my parents don't watch this. And we would hang out. I loved Anna. She was my best friend. I miss her. She is a nut job in the best and funniest of ways. And she does everything at 100%. And yeah, she's a great lady. Anyway, I don't even think Anna knows I do this, but if you ever watch this, Anna, I love you. Cheers to you. So yeah, that's kind of what I remember about the 80s. That's kind of when, the early 80s, I was like early teenager. And then by the late 80s, later teenager. So a lot of political things were happening. There was a lot of change happening. It was an interesting time where I think it's very easy to romanticize it. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it, there were some really gnarly things going on that were really, not too different than some of the gnarly things that are going on now, to be honest, because, history repeats itself because apparently humans can't learn their lesson, right? So anyway, why am I talking about the 80s? Shannon, why is James Spader invading this podcast at every turn? Well, let me tell you, pleasant viewer, we, the Vegan Knitter and Crocheting Group on Ravelry, are going to be having, and I'm just going to put this out there. I just kind of steamrolled this and started it, and I hope everybody's okay with that. We are going to have a 1980s knit-along starting June 1st, giving everybody plenty of time to pick whatever pattern is indicative of the 80s to them. It could be anything. It could be a hat. It could be a headband. It could be leg warmers. Oh, it could be off the shoulder, flash dance. She's a maniac on the floor. She dances like... Okay, anyway. 1980s knit along. Now, when I think of 80s fashion, I just want you guys, close your eyes. When you think, okay, 1987, what were we wearing? It's totally different than what you think. And when I was looking at photos, I was like, holy hell. I think my little alternative dressed in black self had completely tuned out what the hell was going on with the preppy cable sweaters. I missed that entire movement. Now, early 80s, like when I was 13, 14, I will say I do remember, if you know the clothing store, The Limited, they had this sweater line called Forenza. It was the Forenza sweater. And there were crew necks and there were V-necks. And it's just like a simple ribbed knit sweater. Like there's nothing crazy about it, but I had them in every color and I wore them with Guess jeans. Like I distinctly remember this, right? So when I think of early 80s fashion, I kind of think of that because that's what I remember. And Jams, the Jams shorts, which were like floral board shorts. I don't know why we were all wearing those. That's another thing altogether. And then as time progressed, I mean, my taste in music changed. I found a different way of dressing that I really liked. I found, you know, just who I became, it was the seeds of that, right? So I don't remember these like knitting patterns at all. But when I go and I search 1980s knitwear, I have never seen so many high-necked cable sweaters on the most stiff-looking people I have ever seen in my life. And I wish I could say it was counterbalanced by like the Cosby sweater, but I honestly, guys, I can't remember when the Cosby Show was out. I don't remember people gravitating to wearing the Cosby-esque sweater, which basically is like a really fun intarsia like sweater. I mean, essentially that's what those sweaters were. So if you look at the Cosby Show, and I know that Bill Cosby is like, that's a different conversation. We're not getting into that. But the sweaters that he wore would have like strips of leather, intarsia. Like, I mean, they were visually very interesting. Is it something that I was drawn to ever wear at the time? Absolutely not. Is it something minus the leather that I would consider now? Absolutely, depending on the color palette. But those preppy cable chicha sweaters, I'm telling you, I must have been so traumatized by like the preppy people at that point that I completely tuned it out. Because as I was going through photos, I was like, how did I make it through that? I don't know. What do you guys think when you think of 80s fashion? Even if you weren't alive yet, like when someone says, oh, it's like an 80s party, what is your go-to? Because my go-to would literally either be the Forenza sweater preppy look, and that would have been preppy to me, not those like cable chichas. Or it would have totally been like lace, black lace mitts with a ton of rubber bangles and like black capri leggings with like 8 tank tops and like black and white, maybe with a yellow one in there somewhere, and like a headband and like big hair. Like those are my visions of the 80s. I was just acting like I was grabbing boobs. I meant to do that. I'm grabbing 80s by the boobs. Look out. I've only had like 5 sips of this beer. This is ridiculous, you guys. Anyway, let me know what the 80s was to you in terms of fashion. Like, what do you think of? And because I have not picked out my pattern yet. I thought I had picked one out. But here, let me just grab this. Okay, so a wonderful woman, and I hope she does, I'm not going to say her name because I don't have her permission to. She knits really great socks, and she has a beautiful cat. You know who you are. If I'm allowed to say your name ever, you just let me know and I'll just drop it. But she had mentioned this book that she found. I was like, oh, I got to look this up. And it's the World Wildlife I can't even get this out. It's the World Wildlife Federation Knitting Wildlife. You guys. Okay, so here's the deal. What really cracked me up about this. Okay, come on. Shit, I can't get this in camera. Can you even? Okay. Okay, now, you guys. So I'm looking at it and I thought, okay, maybe these people look familiar. I did not read the jacket of the book. Now, this was put out. Hold on. There's nothing more exciting than Shannon reading a book. This is 19... Okay, we're pushing it. This is 1989, but guys, that's all right. So it was done, I think, for charity. But what I did not realize, and I'll just read this to you. Ruth Herring has worked as a knitwear designer since graduating with honors from the School of Fashion at Kingston Polytechnic, London. Her involvement in fashion has included many special commissions for celebrities in the pop and film world, as well as design work for companies based in the Far East and editorial work for fashion magazines. Ruth has also worked as a visiting lecturer in knitwear at several art colleges in her native England. She is currently involved with the Shape London organization and has set up a knitting and crafts workshop for disabled women near her home in Battersea. Karen Manners also graduated from fashion from Kingston Polytechnic. Holy smokes. She worked as a designer and a PR consultant, and during that time, reacquainted herself with Ruth Herring. This is their second collaboration. Karen is also British and lives in London and Los Angeles with her husband, B.A. Robertson, and son, Rory. So that's who wrote the book. I dig them. I think that's pretty cool. However, they got celebrities who were not that well known to model the fashion of this. I'm not going to show you the whole book. This is what I was going to knit. Okay, I just want to let you know that the name of this pattern is Badgers and Wildflowers. See, there's the badger on the shoulder. Oh my God, you guys. Now, it took me a while to figure out the pattern because it just took me a while. And then I went to buy the yarn, and there's charts in here. I don't want to ruin something, but the best part, I have to just do this. This is so funny. All of the sweaters except the one that I picked. Okay, like this one. I just hit the microphone. See that? It's a tiger. Okay. All of this, I don't know why this just hits me. All of the sweaters on the back. Get ready. Tell you the animal. So you're wearing a big ass tiger. That just kills me. Panther. I think it's a different language for tiger, Panthera. And then Tigris and Tigra. In case you didn't know what the visual was, you knit the words really large and in charge on the back. And you guys, yeah, it's a lot. But dude, okay, so I'm sorry, I went off topic. This book is, okay, listen, this book is incredible. This book might be one of the prizes for the knitalong. Anyway, it is 9 frigging colors of yarn for the Badgers and Wildlife. And anyway, I shopped it out and no, I don't have it's bulky weight, by the way. And honest to God, I have no bulky weight yarn, none. So I would have to buy it. And even if I go just Premier acrylic, I'm looking at $50. And I don't want to here's the thing. I actually like the sweater. I don't want to use an acrylic that's going to squeak. I mean, I could go super cheap, but I won't wear the sweater. So then I thought, okay, if I'm going to wear it, it's going to need to be Premier anti-pilling bulky. And I think that's $4.49 for 100 grams. So then I would have a lot of leftover. And I thought, okay, let me go over to Knit Picks and look at Brava. Well, I have never used Brava. So in the comments, if you've knit with Brava, 1, does it pill? And 2, does it squeak? And you know that weird acrylic. So I went over to Knit Picks and priced it out using and Brava's in 50-gram balls. You can get 50 or 500. I end up at $50. I end up at the same price as if I was going to get the 100 grams. So really Premier is definitely more financially sensible. And I thought, okay, I don't want to blow my yarn budget on something like that I don't know. So I don't think that's what I'm going to pick. So I want to know, this is the long ass way of getting here. What is your, like, what do you think of when you think of the 80s fashion? Because I'm going to try just to come up with something on the fly. I think I may end up doing an off the shoulder, kind of like off the shoulder, I don't know, like tee that I can put tanks underneath, but do it in really fun colors. Because when I think of the colors from the 80s, I think of like Neil Parish and color blocking, right? So like if you know Duran Duran, you know Neil Parish. I think of that, right? I also think of like really gaudy neon, you know, yellow and pink and orange. None of which look good on a redhead necessarily, but let's be real. Did anything from the 80s look good on any of us? Because I'm not going to go the shoulder pad route. That is the, oh my God, shoulder pads in the 80s. You guys, I hope someone does an 80s shoulder pad knit because I think that will be fabulous. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but we are casting on June 1st. I'm sure we'll put together a Zoom call. I want anyone and everyone, anything you want to do that reminds you of the 80s. It doesn't have to be something you could wear. It could be like something for the house. It could be a pillow. It could be macrame. I don't care. We're bringing the 80s home. We're going to hang out with James Spader. We're going to do it. And I thought it would be really fun. And I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but I really want to do an 80s playlist. I think that would be so much fun. I think there's so many different things we could do. So anyway, please join our Totally Tubular 80s knit along. You pick your pattern. I don't care what it is. I'm so excited for this. We are going to have some prizes. And I say we, I mean me. I will give away some prizes. I don't know what they're going to be. Now, here's the deal. I don't know anything about international shipping. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to ship prizes internationally. I'll see if I can figure out a backup. If someone wins a prize who is not in the United States of America, we'll figure something out, but I may need a little help with that. So, you know, you guys help me out, please, 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 please. So we have all of, well, there's only 1 week left in April. So we'll have all of May to find a pattern, find your yarn. And then I don't have an end date for this. I'm going to say, I mean, 6 to 8 weeks should probably be good. Let me know what you guys think. How long do you want this knit along to be? Because it is going to go, if you think about this, if we're starting June 1st, it's going to go into summer. So it's going to be warm. And I know a lot of people kind of cease and desist on major knitting projects over the summer because it's warm. Now, I have low blood pressure and I have a condition called Raynaud's. I am always cold, even in 80-degree weather. It's 82 degrees and my hands are cold right now. So I knit solid through the summer. It doesn't even bother me at all. It would only be if I'm like on vacation on an island, which I don't think has happened in over a decade. Hint, hint, editor. Maybe a vacation in a tropical place would be, I don't know, something to think about. Anyway, maybe I would not be knitting. I'd just be reading and drinking beer. Oh my God, you guys, a tropical, I wish we could do, like, I wish I had all the money in the world because I would love to do like a meet up for the vegan knitters and crocheters and crafters. I don't care what you do, whatever it is, like in a tropical place where we could all just hang out and do whatever we want and have good vegan food and I don't know, and just hang out, you know, little Bob Marley. I don't know. Island living, you guys. It's not Ohio, that's for sure. So I really hope you join that knit along. I'm so stoked about it. I'll come up with a hashtag for it. It'll probably be totally tubular 80s. I don't know. I'll come up with something. We don't need it yet. So we've got, if you have an idea for a good hashtag, leave it in the comments. I think is that the knitting portion of this? That is the knitting portion of Sheepless Needles. And I was going to try to make this really quick, but apparently I just babble on about nothing at all times. What are the bunnies doing? Okay, I just like that no one's moving. Like everyone's just like chilled out. I think they like to have the window open. I like having the window open. And I like beer. By the way, I'm now on season 8 of Blacklist. James Spader. You guys. Segue. Or not a segue, an abrupt change of topic, which is not a segue. Oh my God. Beer break, you guys. Everybody, if you're drinking tea, coffee, water, Gatorade, V8, wine, whiskey. Okay. Okay, this is the other thing that's going on. I don't know if you can see this, but my glasses, now that I have to wear them like almost 24/7 because my blind ass can't see, I'm getting bruises on the side of my nose. And I don't know. I'm a little concerned that my eyesight has gotten really this bad this quickly. You know what we're going to blame that on? The big M. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that, but that's what I'm going to blame it on. Okay, so segue into literature for your knitature. Literature for your knitature. You guys, look at me. Look at me. I have read all of that. All of that. I just have that much left. Second book in this Farseer trilogy, Robin Hobb. You guys, I really, 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 really like this series. So far, so good. I have cried twice. It makes me, it's so worth the read. Okay, so I don't know what happens to the rest of it, but he just develops a relationship with a wolf that just, there are points in the relationship that it just hurts your heart. But in a good way, nothing bad has happened. So I really like this series. I think if you're somebody who likes, if you like to have a villain that you really hate, sometimes it's really a good thing. Like for me, when I read, to have that villain, because I can channel how I feel about villainous people in the real world into that character, and it kind of breathes a reality into it. So like for me, there's a character, and I'm not going to give the name of the character because I don't want to ruin that, because you don't really know and for a while that you're going to feel that way. But Putin, and it just, 100%. And so I'm just waiting for this asshole to get his, right? And he better get his. Because sometimes I think we know that in the real world, karma's a bitch, but you don't always get to see someone's karma come back to bite them in the ass, right? And hopefully, by the time karma comes back to someone, you have moved on and you no longer care, right? At least in my life, the best form of like F you is when you just don't care anymore. Right? So I don't know. Great series. Read it. I will be ordering the third book for sure. I have another trilogy, so I'm trying to decide, do I want to take a break from this and start that? I don't think I can read both trilogies at the same time because I think my head can't handle that. Can you do that? Do you read, like, can you read? My husband can read like 5 different books at the same time and be totally fine. I can't. I'm a little monogamous when it comes to my reading, not so much with my knitting. And I almost wonder, because I was watching, somebody recently was podcasting. I don't think it was a vegan podcast. They were talking about monogamous knitting versus like I knit on like a lot of different things, and how with monogamous knitting, you at least feel a little more accomplished because you actually finish things. And I thought, you know, there is something to that because my attention and my physicality is divided between projects, right? So at the end of the day, like what I do right now is when I get done with work, I take care of some chores and I will sit down and I will knit on something spooky for 1 round, like 1 repeat. And then I will pick up the soft tea and knit for about an hour. It's kind of what I've been doing. And then I'll read and then I'll go to bed. So I do kind of wonder if I was like, okay, if I just do the spooky project, it'll just get done, right? I don't know. Are you a monogamous knitter? Do you do 1 project at a time? Do you have like lots of projects on your needles, but you just go to 1 until you're done and then pick up the other? I don't know. How do you handle that? I don't know that I could just do 1 thing at a time. 1, because my hands start hurting depending on the yarn that I'm using. So like fingering weight, I need to have a companion project with fingering weight projects so that I can ease up, my knuckles get tight. I also need, if I'm working on something that for my brain is difficult, probably for yours wouldn't be, but then I need something really easy to go along with it. So I like to balance projects, I guess, in that way. What do you do? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of like watching other podcasts, I had never thought of doing this, and I have to give props to this person. Hang on. First, I gotta take a drink of this beer. I've talked about her before, Allie in Sweatpants. Super cute. Love her. She is in California. I'm very jealous that she is in California because of her weather. Is a younger knitter, and younger because I'm 51. She's, I think, in her 20s. She reminds me a little bit of Kate from This Orange Couch in the sense that she churns out some quality knitwear, like at a rate that I'm like, oh, how are you doing that? She knits socks, a lot of socks, and really cute tops. And anyway, Allie in Sweatpants was talking about frogging a project, and she had mentioned, she said that she gives her, like if she needs to frog something, she will hand it off either to her partner or to her mother or someone in her family to do that for her, because then she doesn't have the emotional attachment or the emotional issue when the frogging is happening. I have never thought about doing that. And let me just tell you something, that I am going to try that the next time I F something up, which will probably be the next project I do, right? Let's be real. So I had just never thought about doing that. And what a fabulous way when you know you need to frog, but you're angry or you're heartbroken or you're just whatever reaction you're having. I wish I had done that with the cardigan that will not be named, because I took scissors to it. Yes, I did. Not to the entire thing, but to that effing sleeve. Because I was mad. I am a redhead naturally. I'm not going to say that all redheads are hot-tempered. This redhead has a temper. That's what I'm saying. And that sweater. One day I'll show it to you. I'm still salty. I'm still mad. I can't do it. Anyway, thank you, Allie, because I think that tip is, I'm going to try that the next time. I think that is a fabulous way of handling things. 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try that. So thank you for that. The other podcaster that just came up a second ago that I want to just, a little healing vibes, everybody. Someone had a kitchen injury and with a mandolin, and that's all we're going to say. She's okay. Kate, I'm thinking of you. I hope your thumb is healing. You know, think of this as like a muscle break prior to the knitting Olympics. So like basically what you're doing is you're giving those, like your thumb, you're giving this area a little rest before you hit the track. Yeah. Mandolins are scary things. I don't have one. I used to have one. I don't have one now. I have one big chef's knife and I have one small serrated for tomatoes, and that's about it. Listen, you guys, kitchen tip, sharpen your friggin' knives, because a dull knife is a recipe for disaster. Also, now I'm not preaching here. If you have a mandolin, they do make like a glove that you wear with it. That is basically the same thing you wear if you dive with sharks. It's chainmail essentially, so that you can't have a mandolin injury. I'm just saying, look into it if you're going to use a mandolin and sharpen your knives. And if you dive with sharks, wear chainmail. What? You guys. All right, let's do this. Let's wrap this shit up. I will tell you before I wrap up that Steve and I did play Generation Zero. I will have him throw in some game footage so you can see my wonderful outfit. You guys, that game is so much fun. And you will see, as Steve says, as I game, as I do in life, I go in blasting and I don't apologize ever. So enjoy the Generation Zero. If you haven't checked it out, it is so much fun. If you need any help setting it up or you need to know how to multiplayer, all of that, let me know. I will help you out. Steve plays upstairs. I play down here. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And Elden Ring, you guys, I think I'm level 31. I got a bitchin' outfit and I'll show it to you next time. It took forever to get it, but I have the depraved perfumer's armor, I think is what it is. I don't want to talk about farming and how long and how many times I had to kill the dude playing the flute. Like, literally hundreds of times. It took 3.5 hours. But that was 3.5 hours that I got some aggression out and, you know, didn't take it out on anyone else except the guy playing the flute. Elden Ring is so much fun. And I have to say something. I know that a lot of people talk about like Dark Souls and then Elden Ring, because Elden Ring is kind of, it's the same concept as Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a very unforgiving game. So is Elden Ring. You die a lot. But the reality is you don't have, I mean, like, you can play the game to like beat the game, or you can play the game to explore and just do ridiculous stuff. That's what I do. Steve is way ahead of me and I could give 0 F's about it. It's so much fun. It's such a vast and open world. And if you have played, the thing I would say to you, if you have played something like Skyrim or you play ESO, which are huge open world games, right? But there are distinct quest lines and you can track your quests and, you know, you've got shit to do and whatever. Elden Ring is a very open world. So is Dark Souls. But there isn't like a quest log, so that you really need to, like, if you run into something that you think is going to be a quest, mark your map, go to your map, get a beacon. And there's actually like, you can put down markers and there's different icons. They have like, I think there's 9 different icons that can kind of label what they are. 100% label your friggin' map because you will not remember. And I don't really like having to depend on guides and stuff. I kind of like to discover stuff on my own, but I am way out of order on stuff. And there's not when I say that, there's not an order in which you have to play Elden Ring. It is that open. But the difference is with Skyrim, it reins you in. Like you can be like, oh, I know I was doing a quest on this, and you can go to your journal and you can look at your quest log and you'll be like, oh, I need to go back to Chicha and pick up whatever and bring it back to whoever. They don't hold your hand in Elden Ring. Like there's no log. So like if someone asks you to go do something, take notes or mark your map. So much fun. Love it. So Steve will insert some game footage. I don't think it'll be of Elden Ring. It might be, but you'll definitely see a little of Generation Zero, which is absolutely a blast. We just downloaded a new game, Celasta. I think that's what it's called. Is it on my computer? No, I don't have it to look at it. I'm very excited. That's like a D&D. It's as close to D&D that Steve and I can get to with a computer game right now. So I will report back on Celasta. And hold on. Who do we want to celebrate today, you guys? What do we want to celebrate? I haven't been paying attention to the news, so I haven't really seen anything going on in the vegan world. So I just want to celebrate people who are making great choices on an everyday basis. So I celebrate you because you made the great choice of viewing into me. So cheers to you. Steve's talking to someone. I don't know what's going on. Okay. 2 weeks. Take care of yourself. Love yourself so that you can take care and love one another. I can't even get it out. Because you're worth it, just like L'Oreal and Wallaby. 80's. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, your inspirations. And maybe I'll put together, like, I'll figure it out. Michael over at Peace for Peace podcast, Peace for Peace Craft. I forget I love him. Anyway, not vegan, and that's okay. I still love him. He's still lovable. He does a Spotify playlist for his like podcast group, and I'm not quite sure how he does it. So I don't want to steal his idea, but I'm going to kind of steal his idea. And I think maybe what I want to try to do is like an 80s playlist for our knit along, right? So I'll let you know where I get with that. I'm an Apple person. I'm not really a Spotify person. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway. Cheers. Have a great 2 weeks. Enjoy the beautiful weather. I hope you have beautiful weather. Hug a bunny, take out, take out trash. what am I talking about? I don't even know what I'm talking about. We're done. We're done here. We're done. Toodles.
What's this? Oh, you can harvest trees now. That's new. At least since the last time we played. Guess if you need wood or something.
Oh, to build your camp.
Alright, you want to go down and just check this farm out?
Sure. Whoa!
Are you in the ditch?
Tree.
Mm-hmm. Tree, yeah. It would be really hilarious if
this game.
That's how you really rode your bike.
Oh, this game is the best. Is there anything in here?
Not really.
Okay.
Ding ding.
I can't get off my bike. Oh my god, that was weird. Oh, I'm down. I've got an adrenaline shot. It's alright. I'm good.
Ow. Getting my ass kicked here. Hang on. Probably shouldn't have just charged into this area. Oh, here it comes. Oh, crap.
Oh shit, I'm out of ammo.
It's really angry.
Move.
we really struggling with just this one?
Yep.
This one seeker?